We are going to begin at 4 with breaking news. Within just the last hour or so, a woman who admitted to leaving nearly 200 bodies to rot in a funeral home in Penrose was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Hi, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff.
And I'm Sam Shocker in for Kim Christensen. Carie Hallford and her husband, former husband, charged families to cremate those bodies, but instead pocketed the money. John Hallford is serving 40 years for a combination of state and federal crimes.
Kevin Vaughn from 9 News Investigates joins us now. Kevin, we heard from Carie Hallford this afternoon. We also heard from really powerful victim impact statements, too.
Yeah, Phil and Sam, Carie Hallford told the judge that she was emotionally and psychologically tormented by her then husband. She also said, quote, "I wish so badly I could go back in time and change so many things. I'm very sorry to everyone that I've hurt by the things that I did and failed to do. I'm not a monster." How to explain the unexplainable. How to find the words for husband and wife funeral home operators who took money to cremate the deceased and instead left the remains of those who had died rotting, then handed the families urns filled not with ashes, but with cement or other debris. Investigators ultimately found the remains of 191 people at the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose. John Hallford is already serving a 40-year sentence for state and federal crimes. Today, his now former wife, Carie Hallford, faced the final reckoning for her part in the crimes after pleading guilty to 191 felony counts of abuse of a corpse. In a packed Colorado Springs courtroom, some of those impacted tried to find the words to adequately explain the unexplainable, their shock, grief, and pain. The judge did not allow us to record audio of the statements during the hearing that was fraught with emotions. Tanya Wilson was there on behalf of her deceased mother, Kim Yong-suk. She told the judge, "There are no words to heal the gashes the Hallfords have carved into my soul." Tammy Horvath spoke of the loss of her husband, Robert. "This experience will never be over for me and the others in this room. I will always live with the horrific crime at the forefront of my mind when thinking about my husband's passing." The Hallfords' crimes came to light in 2023, and the horrors found inside their Penrose funeral home were indescribable. Even so, Derek Johnson, whose mother Ellen Lopes was among those whose body was never cremated, tried. This was not just a crime against people. It was a crime so vile that it stained the earth. The ground beneath the building became toxic, so corrupted it had to be scraped and hauled off as hazardous waste. Defense attorneys, the prosecutor, and even some of the victims who spoke today acknowledged that Carie Hallford was abused by John Hallford. But a prosecutor also pointed out that Carie Hallford was the one who met with victims and promised to treat the remains of their loved ones with dignity and respect, and also the one who handed them cement she passed off as ashes. Live in the studio, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
Kevin, it never gets any easier to talk about this story. That is a solemn promise when you're promising to take care of people's loved ones after they've passed. Carie pocketed an awful lot of money that was paid for people's cremations. What are some of the things she spent that money on?
Well, Phil, prosecutors showed evidence that she bought expensive clothes, drove expensive cars, traveled with the money, ate expensive meals. There was one $800 dinner, the prosecutor pointed out in her statement before the judge today. All of that money was supposed to pay for those cremations that never happened.
All right, Kevin, thanks.